on the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield. Live from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar inside the Hyatt Regency in Coralville. This is Hawk Talk with Jensen. Presented by Oak Knoll Retirement Community. Also brought to you by 988. There is hope with a 988 Lifeline. Call or text 988 for free, 24/7. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Honda, to see how Honda crushes the competition, see your local Central Midwest Honda dealer. Honda gets the Midwest. Oak Knoll, an active life care community powered by the University of Iowa Energy Collaborative, empowering Hawkeyes to do energy right. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. U.S. Bank, proud to support Iowa basketball. U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. And by Wimmer's Meats, the official hot dog of the Hawkeyes. Here is your host, Rob Brooks.
Well, filling in this evening for Rob Brooks, I'm Catherine Reynolds. Rob is traveling out to Piscataway, New Jersey, covering the Iowa men's basketball team in their matchup with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights tomorrow evening. So wishing safe travels and good luck to Mr. Brooks. Not sure if he's tuned in tonight or not, but certainly with us in spirit always. But welcome to Hawk Talk with Coach Jensen. We are live from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar inside the Hyatt Regency here in Coralville. Coach Jensen and her Hawkeyes are on a 5-game winning streak, bringing the season record to 17-7 and 7-6 in Big Ten Conference play, with 3 of the last 5 wins being against Quad 1 opponents. The Hawks most recently earned victories over the Nebraska Cornhuskers just last night in Lincoln in an 81-66 contest, as well as last Thursday evening winning 68-60 over the Minnesota Golden Gophers in Minneapolis. I know some people in this room were happy about that one. We will talk through all of that, but we'll start, Coach Jay, with your trip to visit the neighbors to the north, the Gophers, and the travel adventure, which I'm hoping you can provide some color commentary on as well for the listeners. And man, does that feel like a long time ago already, even though it wasn't even a week.
Because it was a week that day.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding.
It was a week.
Yeah, so we'll cover that as well, but just kind of I'll do a little recap of that Minnesota game. It was a contest in which Hannah Stolke earned her 1,000th career point and then some.
Yep.
She being the 44th Hawkeye to do so, and she finished with 17 points and 7 rebounds. Sydney Affolter, another impressive double-double, 13 points and 14 rebounds.
That's impressive.
13 more than I had in my career for Coach Jay. And Lucy Olson had the first of her 2 really good games this week, 14 points and 7 assists, and Kylie Furbach rounded things out with 14 points of her own in an outing where your upperclassmen really led the way throughout that game. You jumped out early, never really looked back with the exception of things getting a little tight in the fourth quarter for a few minutes, but it was great defensive effort, limiting the Gophers to a season-low 60 points. So your defense certainly traveled amongst all of the snafus along the way, but Coach, like we said, let's start at the beginning. Many here have heard or read about the travels, but if you could kind of tell it as you experienced it, and then we'll jump into discussing the ins and outs of that 68-60 win at Minnesota.
Well, first off, we have to discuss that you're the host of this deal. This is just like we drew it up when I started recruiting you, that someday we're going to be sitting in a bar area and you're going to be hosting a show.
Yeah, funny. I remember I was 15 and you said, hey, one day we're going to be doing this. No, I'm just kidding, but an honor to be sitting up here next to you. And so fun to watch you, winning and in victory and defeat, always filled with grace, Coach Jay. So happy to be next to you.
Well, it's fun. It was fun. And you were actually right next to me in the whole shenanigans of the Minnesota trip. And, I know a lot of the listeners and people here, you've read about it, but it was just one of those times. We've all had the travels. We've all had issues when you're on a United flight and they keep putting on the board, you're going to leave in 30 minutes, and you're going to leave in 60 minutes, and you keep thinking, are we going to leave? Are we going to leave? And it's just a little bit different when you're in a private flight because you actually have more control, right? Because you're actually talking to the pilot, and you have, people talking to the, Minnesota airstrip or whatever. But this was so unique because we started off, and the crew was late to land. And a lot of times, I don't know if people understand it, but there's not a whole lot of companies that fly around all of the teams. So it's not like there's a gazillion of them. There's a small number, and then there's all different sizes of planes. So it's not like they're a dime a dozen. So they were not coming from any drop-off point. They just landed a little bit late, but maybe it's because they didn't have to, count on the de-icing they had to do before they left. Well, that 20 minutes they were late was all the difference. Because when they landed, we'd been waiting, and then we got on, and then we de-iced, and then we took off, right? We took off, and we were going. Yeah, kind of. And all of a sudden, the pilot hit the brakes, and it was like, Rah! I mean, abrupt. Our heads were against the back of the seats. And I'm like, what the heck just happened? And so then he doesn't say anything at the time, and then he kind of, goes down and taxis, and he turns around, and then you can see, man, are we going to take off again? And then he comes on and says, the runway is icy. I couldn't take off. I didn't have the traction. So then we went in, and that started the whole shenanigans because we went into the FBO. They were great. They opened a nice area for us. Hour and a half, they say, we're good to go. We got on the plane, and then we needed to be tugged to the de-icing. And then the tow truck was broken, the tugger thing. So then I'm like, are you kidding me? Can we not get another tow truck thing? No, we can't do that. I go, well, United is right over at the Public. Can we not just, rent that thing? So then they're doing all the different things. So they make an exception a little bit. They let us de-ice the propellers because the propellers also got frozen in that hour. And that's what the propellers need to go to let him just drive over to de-icing. We de-ice the propellers. We go de-ice. Everything's great. 2 hours have passed. And then we sit on de-icer for how long? Hour?
I'll say I tried to get off, guys. My car was parked at the airport, so I had an out.
Catherine is sitting beside us. She's, that's it. I'm driving up tomorrow. And I was like, well, they say we can make it. And I didn't want to bust because it's icy. Had it been mechanical, we'd have just bust right on up there and got there at midnight. But they couldn't assure us we would fly the next day, yada, yada. So Catherine's standing, trying to get out of the plane for an hour. And meanwhile, I got assistant coaches. They're texting, trying to figure out things. We were talking to pilots. Long story short, we were on that plane on the Cedar Rapids runway for 6 hours. And we were sat at about an hour. And then we decided, because of the icy weather, we stayed overnight. And then they took us the next day. And the team handled that adversity as well as any team I had had. And when we landed in Minneapolis, extremely windy. That was one of the – I've been on a lot of flights, but that's top 3 of which we landed. Very, very challenging, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. And you've got players laying on their back just to kind of balance out for a few minutes and find center.
Gasps, hitting. It was crazy, but we were thankful we got there and they did what they had to do.
Yeah, so atypical. You had your shoot around off-site due to being a little bit late to Minneapolis, but again, they went back to the hotel, rested up, and then you get to Minnesota and you jump all over them, 18-7 in that first quarter.
Great start. Yep.
Great start. Something you have kind of talked about throughout the course of the season is how can we start games better after a few where some holes were dug and it was really hard to come back. So 18-7 in that first quarter, then things kind of balance out. But if you can think back to that, if you can kind of remember just what you were thinking as you entered that game with just a strange day, not a bad day, just different, and then approaching it in the same way, even though the travel stuff was in the rear view.
We, I just kind of, in my own mind, I just thought it was so ironic because if any of you have been to Williams Arena, of all the arenas, that is the most bizarre. It's raised, the depth perception, and then when we were late leaving the next day, too, and that caused us to miss our shoot-around because Minnesota had their time. And I was like, boy, this is really going to be a challenge because we missed that time of getting used to it. But I just kind of took the approach, and I could feel what the kids were thinking, too. It was just like, not today. Do not mess with us today. We have done this, and we've had to do that. And we took it kind of in a more of a tongue-in-cheek. And I think that's the thing we talked about, That type of adversity is really nothing, I told them, compared to really what real-life issues are, right? We're snow, ice. We're taking a plane to get to go play in a Big Ten game. And just try to keep that perspective and what we could control. What we can control is if we get there, we can just play as hard as we can. And, a lot of things that our team we've seen families go through this year with our dear friend Jamie KB Wright, our little kid captain Christy Bujakowska. I mean, those things are just real things. And so we just kind of turned it more so like, yeah, don't mess with us today. And they really liked that. You could kind of get a sense that they kind of had that. But I think the story of that game was we started and we finished. I thought we looked tired in the middle. I would have never used that as an excuse had we lost, nor do I think it was the motivation that we won. But I think the middle wasn't just that weird travel. I think it is a Big Ten season. I think it's the trajectory of this team that they, on hard days 3 weeks ago, they kept showing up. They kept believing that they were closer than farther. And then they got to this moment. They had a great start. But as any pretty good team in the middle of the pack of the Big Ten does, they're like, not so fast. We're pretty good this year, we think. And then it got tied, didn't it?
I think it was a 1-point game.
1-point game. And then, man, that was the last 2 or 3 minutes. They all just said, not today. Mm-hmm. Taylor finally hits one. Hannah hit a couple crucial, amazing post shots. Lucy went off on a couple things. So I was just really, really proud of how they handled it and really thankful we got that win.
Yeah, throughout the season, your freshmen have gotten a lot of playing time, a lot of early playing time in this season, and yet Minnesota was one where maybe they looked a little bit uncomfortable at times, and I can vividly recall a time in the fourth quarter where you brought in 3 of your veteran players to kind of right the ship a little bit. But I guess kind of what I'm interested in hearing is just how you navigate that with your freshmen when inevitably there comes times in the season where things are hard for them. Yeah. It's a long season, like you say, and they've gotten playing time. Now they're maybe getting less or they're not producing as much in the minutes they do get. So just navigating that.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing about this season. When you have what you think is depth and when you have a lot of people who are pretty even, you're always, as a coaching staff, trying to figure out that combination. And, so often this year it's been the freshmen that have kind of played a little looser, and they've kept us close or got us close, and maybe our bets were playing a little bit tight. In that particular game, the freshmen looked like, they were a little tight, and they were kind of hit a wall. And then it was I think that game, the vets finally, you really said, okay, we got this. We got you. We got each other. We got you youngsters. And the thing that's always, it took me a little while at this particular role I'm in. You're overseeing a lot of other things, and I don't see my posts as individuals for film sessions, right? And then you kind of get to take on the team, right? But it occurred to me that night that the freshmen, they're usually getting ready for almost a state tournament run by now, right? This is the end of their season. I think Iowa high schools, they have 2 regular seasons games left maybe, and then it's tournament play. So now they've weathered all these storms, but they're not the same roles as they were in high school. So you kind of have to, really make sure you're cognizant of that. And positional coaches and myself as a head coach, you understand that a little bit. But it's just the lessons, right? The trajectory. That's what I think is really cool about then what happened at the Nebraska game, is that we got in foul trouble. I'm going to use Ava Hayden as an example. Addie's been very consistent, and Hannah makes us a little faster and different to start. And, so then her playing time shrunk a bit. And then all of a sudden there's foul trouble, and then Ava, what we were been telling you, your time, it's now. And then boom, she really, really, really came through.
Yeah, absolutely. She certainly did. We'll get ready to take our first break here, but Oak Knoll's mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through Life Care, a not-for-profit life plan community serving the Iowa City community for 58 years. Oak Knoll is conveniently located near the University of Iowa Healthcare Campus, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, in downtown Iowa City. A proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Visit oakknoll.com to learn more. This is Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen from Learfield.
Did you know that UI ranks near the top of the EPA's Green Power Leaderboard with 84% of our energy coming from renewable sources? Now you can be a part of the team that makes it happen. The University of Iowa Energy Collaborative, with our partner, NG Iowa, is offering full-time positions in utility operations for our campus and hospital water, heating, steam, and distribution systems. Check out the jobs and apply at uiowaenergycollaborative.com.
Our mission at Oak Knoll is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, CEO. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served the Iowa City area for 58 years. Oak Knoll is located near the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, Hancher Auditorium, and downtown Iowa City. Visit our website at oakknoll.com to learn more. We are a proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Go Hawks!
Hawk fans, stop in and visit the newly renovated guest rooms at Hyatt Regency Coralville Hotel and Conference Center, located in the heart of Iowa River Landing. Stay within walking distance of Extreme Arena, home of the Hawkeye volleyball team, as well as great restaurants, shopping, and scenic walking trails along the Iowa River. Hyatt Regency Coralville is also the home of Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen and Fran McCaffrey. Come together at Hyatt Regency Coralville, where everything you need is right here.
Hear that? That's the Iowa Lottery powering up the new Pac-Man scratch ticket, where you could chomp your way to $50K in instant cash prizes. Even if you don't score big in your first round, you still get an extra life. Because you can enter non-winning tickets in the VIP club for a chance to win a Pac-Man arcade package, plus your share of $325,000 in cash prizes. That's a lot of Waka Waka winning. Woo-hoo! Pac-Man is registered and copyrighted by Bandai Namco Entertainment Inc. Enter and see rules at iLottery.com/VIP.
I'm Y.A. Black, defensive line, Iowa. On the field, I take on double teams, stop the run, and sack the quarterback.
Sullivan now runs for his life, and he's obliterated by Y.A. Black. Here's the snap, the spot.
Yes, and it's blocked it. Kick is back to the line of scrimmage. Don't touch the ball.
Hawks get it back. Y.A. Black, that man, what a momentum shift there.
Off the field, I help my body's defense by choosing vaccines that are right for me. Ask your doctor or healthcare provider which vaccines are right for you.
A message from Iowa HHS.
Cancer doesn't care. It doesn't care what you look like, how old you are, what you do, or where you live. We do. University of Iowa Healthcare is doing more to beat cancer than anyone in the state. From second opinions to life-saving treatments that happen here first. We lead the way in research, training, and care because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
We'll welcome you guys back to the Watermill Kitchen and Bar inside the Hyatt Regency for Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen. Throughout the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hardworking values that are uniquely Iowan. Thank you to Iowa's corn farmers who lead the nation in corn and ethanol production, feeding and fueling us all. Go to iowacorn.org to learn how corn grows Iowa. So, Coach, we'll just jump into last night in Lincoln, which another one feels like a little bit of a whirlwind. But
it does, doesn't it?
Here we are, you know, a really good win for your team, 81-66. And, oh, my, was Lucy Olson firing on all cylinders. Her first 30-point game in a Hawkeye uniform, finishing with 32 points, 6 rebounds, and a stat I know you love, 7 assists.
I love that. The assists with the point production. That's what we've always loved about our point guards, right? They do a good job with that. But I was so happy for Lucy personally because I've said so many times on the show, you know, she's such a pleaser. She wants to do well. She's trying to lead. She's trying to find her footing. And then you could see her getting more and more comfortable. I thought that USC game, that second half, obviously. And when she has a start like that, it just really infuses a lot of confidence. So I was thrilled for her to be able to feel that, and I hope we can keep replicating that because she was a huge catalyst for our offensive production. I mean, Sid had a great line too, right? And how about Taylor McCabe? But Kylie also does the injection of confidence with her defense. And so when we were able to make some tweaks from the last time that we played Nebraska, and that's the thing is like it's not always going to go your favor, right? But when you don't get to play someone twice, right, it's like we were able to be like, oh man, we didn't do this right as well. We should have done this well. Let's try this. And then what we tweaked and changed, it was able to kind of 23 for them, Britt Prince. We were able to kind of limit her, touches really, and giving her a lot of space. So it felt good to get that back. But the other games, right? That's why there's so much pressure. It's I've said so many times, it's just even though I've been here so many years as an assistant, and even though I'm the head coach, it's so different than a year ago. Everything is different. Rev share, collectives, the way the conference is. Not everybody goes to the conference tournament. There's just a whole different level of load of pressure, and when you have it, and it's pretty constant. So Lucy doing what she did last night, and Kylie fueling that defensive end. It was just a really, really cool thing to see.
Well, for the assist with Lucy, I mean, how much of that do you think is just her getting comfortable with this team? I mean, it's different that she is a senior, but it's her first time playing with this group of people. So do you feel like that's part of it too, is just synergy? I
do, and I think that's the thing. Why I've always, it's relatively new, but why our philosophy as a staff has always been the portal as a need, not just to instantly get better. Because I think the best part of if what coaching is about is melding a team and the climb, right? Look at like Sid Alfolter. She didn't play much her first couple of years, and last year was the last 6-8 games due to Molly's injury, right? But she was ready, and now she's starting and a captain, all the things. But you bring Lucy in, and we need her desperately, but she's got to learn a system. We've got to get comfortable with how Hannah plays and how Addie plays, and that's a different post altogether. She's got to get comfortable with me, and we got these freshmen. We got 5 new people, so it takes time. And I just credit them a lot because they've been a joy to coach, and the journey has been one that I think we'll always enjoy. But you're exactly right. The synergy takes time, and it takes as long as it takes. And it'd be great if it would have taken until November 12th, right? But it just takes a little bit longer, and I'm just thankful that I feel we're getting closer to that consistency. But there's still a lot of regular season left. We got 5 games left, which is still a bunch that can define a lot. But I just love the direction we're going.
Well, speaking of synergy, and Iowa prides itself on being a culture program and a culture team. And so I think Addie O'Grady is one who gets lost in the mix a little bit sometime, but due to her character and ability to come off the bench and fill in different roles, if you could just talk about Addie a little bit, and how now that you've got Hannah starting at the 5, O'Grady's coming off the bench more often than not, and how she's stepped up to the occasion.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, everybody's really had a sacrifice as we found the formula that kind of makes us team-wise a little bit better. And, Addie, had a really, nice season going. But when we found out, like with how Hannah was in the lineup as the 4, there was just a lot of clogging of the defense because we were being sagged off of. So we weren't really getting the best of a lot of other kids. Hannah wasn't able to utilize her strengths, which right now, due to that knee injury, she never really got to really work on facing the basket as much. So everybody was like, yeah, what is it going to take for us to, have team success? So Addie, I mean, she'll tell you she was disappointed. I mean, she wasn't, it wasn't like that was like, oh, sure, let's just do this. There is a getting used to the new role. But to credit Addie, she was like, yep, it makes sense. I'm ready. I'll do what I need to do. And I think we can all agree that Addie was pretty big in that USC game, right? She came in, she did what we needed her to do, and was a big, big reason. And last night, it was just weird to have Hannah and Addie both get in, foul trouble, which is really rare. One may get in trouble, but to have really 2 that early. But Addie is just, I think, a really good example this particular year of what Iowa women's basketball is like it's always about the team, and any of the individual stuff is really great. But everybody is typically doing what they know needs to be done to let this program have its best shot at success. And every year it's usually someone that's does a selfless move, and really, actually it's been Addie, but it's been Hannah. Hannah at that end of that USC game, we rode Addie, and Hannah was the one that was standing up, fist bumping and cheering for her the loudest. And that, I think, was a really cool moment, is when I looked over and I saw Hannah as invested as if she would have, made the play on the floor.
Mm-hmm. And you started to allude a little bit to the way the game was officiated last night. I know we've got a lot of fans in here that certainly didn't miss the broadcast and saw those, Nebraska shot 29 free throws to Iowa's 14, which right before that, it was 25-7. I remember looking at the stat sheet. So I know, there's nothing you can change about it. Within the course of a game, it's a game of adjustments. You've got to react and change how you're playing. But sometimes it's really hard to do that when you truly are baffled by the fouls they are calling, these, little touch fouls. So how did you get through that and talk to your team, and a team that's prided itself on defense and not fouling this particular season?
Well, we all had a moment where we all lost our minds, everybody on the bench and the coaches, right? And then, I could kind of sense the team was like, wow. And I went down to them like, we are fouling. They called it. We are fouling. So we either adjust or we lose, right? So whatever it is they're calling, we evidently are in the line of fire. So we either make a move now or we're just going to keep complaining. That's not serving us well. I said a little bit more succinctly, but they got the point. And at halftime, it was the first half.
Oh, hold on, Coach. Are you sure it was more succinct?
It was 30-second timeout.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, nice. Very, I'll give you that. That was a good point. But at halftime, I said, look, this is basketball, and the thing is, I would kind of like to have that crew on Thursday and next Monday, right? Because we're going to face a team that's full court pressure, that they're going to be denying, and they're going to be really climbing all over you. And so then we'll probably get someone that no whistle is blown, until the end of the game, right? But I just thought that was another thing to really challenge them with. I said, we've handled adversity this whole year. And so we are not going to let the way this game's called, are we? Are we going to let the way this game's called just kind of take away an opportunity we fought so hard for? And I could just see they got a little grittier with that. But with all that being said, I thought they did adjust eventually, and that was probably when our staff and me adjusted a little bit better. But it was unique. I know every time, man, I would ask one of the refs, and I'm like, what? He's like, I'm just calling what I'm seeing. And I said, well, I don't think what you're seeing is accurate. Because if you're seeing it here, then I need you to see it down there. Now, you know. And I was like, my goodness. I go, they're free throws. They're shot like, well, I'm just calling what I see. I can't control that they've shot that many. I'm like, you really can? You can control. You really can control how many they shoot. And then I let that go.
Wow, Jan Jensen, ever the diplomat, especially on the sidelines. But, Coach, either way, came out with a big win, limited the candidate for Freshman of the Year in the conference, Britt Prince, and a game you have to be really happy about. So we'll preview what's coming up next after another break. And U.S. Cellular is a proud sponsor of the Iowa Hawkeyes. U.S. Cellular wants you to make the most of today by choosing game day traditions first and scrolling later. U.S. Cellular, built for us. This is Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen from Learfield.
Did you know that UI uses the same amount of energy as all the rest of Iowa City? That's why we have our own power plant, and we're committed to making it clean. By 2025, we'll rely completely on climate-friendly, alternative fuels. Deep in the boiler rooms, engineers from the University of Iowa Energy Collaborative are optimizing the power plant so it can handle these new fuels more efficiently. Learn more about it at uiowaenergycollaborative.com. That's uiowaenergycollaborative.com.
Hello, Iowa. Here's a promise. Wherever you are in this great state, University of Iowa Healthcare is here for you, even if you never walk through our doors. Educating, caring, leading research, sharing our expertise with all. Because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide, experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides a direct connection to free, confidential, and compassionate support. You'll be quickly connected to trained crisis counselors who will listen to your concerns and connect you to additional resources if needed. There is hope. For 24/7 support, call or text 988 or chat 988lifeline.org. A message from Iowa HHS.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing Us Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today?
The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever.
Oh my goodness.
Visit U.S. Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to Us Mode, even if you're not a customer. U.S. Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
Our mission at Oak Knoll is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, CEO. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served the Iowa City area for 58 years. Oak Knoll is located near the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, Hancher Auditorium, and downtown Iowa City. Visit our website at oakknoll.com to learn more. We are a proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Go Hawks!
The silly moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments. They're what make life remarkable. And they're why Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is here for every moment. Committed to making healthcare better, more affordable, with more choices for care. And service and coverage that give you peace of mind no matter what comes your way. So you can show up for every tender moment, every brave moment, and every wouldn't miss it for the world moment, knowing that Blue is here for you. Go to wellmark.com/every moment to find a plan right for you.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen from the Hyatt Regency's Watermill Kitchen and Bar here in Coralville. When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org. Well, Coach Jensen started to mention what's coming up next. And first things first, Rutgers comes to town on Thursday evening with a 6:30 tip inside Carver Hawkeye Arena, back in the friendly confines. Always a good place to be.
Amen.
But I'm guessing last night on the plane and today you were going over that Rutgers scouting report. So just early thoughts and expectations out of that matchup with Rutgers, who currently sits at 2-11 in the conference and 10-14 overall.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Those teams are scary. Like Illinois, who's sitting fourth in the conference. Illinois should have lost at Rutgers. It was a bad call, speaking of officials. Rutgers had it. They've been close with some of the top in the league. They've gotten blown out sometimes. They're really a scary team. They're very, very athletic. They press a lot. Can be a little helter-skelter, but that's sometimes hard to defend because there's not a certain pattern. And they have a young lady by the name of Kayomi Miller, and she's like a Juju Watkins. And she shoots it farther than Juju. She shoots it from Caitlin range, actually. And she can hit it really well. She has unbelievable handles. If you search the internet, a lot of people are just so impressed with her. So it's a tough guard. It really is. They got a lot of players that can do a lot of, damage. But that one, we got to not let her go crazy on us. So it's going to be a challenge because it's everybody's going to think, oh, it's expected, it's easy, and there's nothing easy in this league. And that's another thing we talk about freshmen. When you have in high school, you play a bottom of the conference, you win by 67, right? Here, you can win, but a solid win will be 15, right? But you just win and you move on. And this team, they're scary to me. So I'm definitely still studying them for sure.
Yeah, sometimes they call those trap games, and I think it's better to address it, right? I think you do too with your team. Don't let this be that trap game. And I know historically Rutgers high pressure, full court type of pressure team. Are they still doing that?
Yeah, they do. They do it on makes, dead balls, and free throws. They got a 3/4 court zone. They have a full court player where they'll trap the inbounds. Sometimes they'll keep with the trap. Sometimes they don't. So we just have to really be ready. And we've been working a lot on the press. We've done well. USC did it the second quarter. We didn't handle it. We did the third quarter, and they did it a little bit the fourth, but they didn't do it as much because we handled it. So I told them we just got to continue showing that growth in that area too. So, I feel like we are growing, but it just isn't. I just want to caution fans that it's not a situation where hey, it's a slam dunk. And I'm not saying that to undersell. I'm just saying that because I've watched the film. I've watched the games. And someone ends up at the bottom sometimes. And it's just, then you kind of, if you can get them down and keep them down, but if you give that a little hope, they got nothing to lose. Absolutely no pressure. So we gotta keep doing what we do, and we've shown well defensively, and then we gotta, hopefully our offense is going to continue to click.
Yeah, well, your defense has shown up all year. Kind of a cool storyline with Rutgers is Will McIntyre, who was your graduate assistant for the last couple of seasons. His mother works at the University of Iowa, but he's now the director of scouting and technology under Coach Hawkeyes Washington, and I know Hawkeyes is one you've got a lot of respect for.
Yeah, I do. I really, that's why we supported, we helped him get that job and called and said, hey, this guy. And if anybody knows Will McIntyre, man, you would like your son to grow up to be like Will McIntyre. So it's kind of funny, our managers, when they got off the bus last night, I can't remember, someone said, oh, you're going to talk to Will? They're like, nope, not talking at all. There is no talking. There is no communication until after the game, because Will used to be in charge of all of them. And Will is, he's really great. He's going to be a great coach someday. And we just really encouraged him. He needed to go out and he needed to get some experience. But he's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, top-notch guy. Excited to have him back. Although a little worried about this weather that we're predicted here for Rutgers. We're no stranger to the travel issue. So
well, I talked to some of our administration people and like, can we get him here early? And I was kind of thinking for Liz McIntyre to get him here an extra day, but they did not come in today. But I did learn that navigating snow in the air world is much better than navigating ice. So they feel comfortable regardless that you can shovel off the ice or the snow, and you can do that. But the ice on the runways, that's when it really messes everything up. So they feel confident that even if it does what the weather is, predicted to do, they feel that, at the very least, Rutgers could kind of do what we did and had to come in on game day. So fingers crossed, but I'm really hoping for Will's family that they do get to make it in tomorrow.
Well, and if Jan's not there, we know she's moonlighting in the air traffic control tower on Thursday night based on that very thorough.
I got it now, right here, all of it.
But we have a listener question that actually kind of touches on something you mentioned earlier of some Rob in Cedar Rapids. I don't know if it's Rob Brooks in Cedar Rapids, but if not, he really is here with us tonight.
Rob, are you at some bar having a drink without us?
So Rob in Cedar Rapids says, with the transfer portal and all the NIL money out there, is there much of a chance for A- or B+ players to make a Big Ten roster anymore?
Yes, there is. I mean, it's going to be. It depends on different models that you look at. Like if you look at a NBA team, right? Let's take Steph Curry. Steph Curry, however many millions he makes, and then they just made a trade with Jimmy Butler. And so he's making a few million to come, right? Well, the guys at the end of the bench, right, that never get in, that are into practice, I don't know what the cap is in the NBA for, the baseline of what you can make. Let's say it's $2 million. Let's even say it's $6 million. That's $6 million to $80 million, right? So if this is the model that we're all going, you're going to have two types of recruiting, right? You got your model of the Steph Currys, right, or the Caitlin Clarks, if women were to make that much, which hopefully someday we'll get to that point. And then you have more of your role players. So, yes, but it's complicated. And so until we know what the rev share really is going to mean, it just depends. There's going to be a lot of different discrepancy on who does the rev share and who does it well and who gives money to women's programs and who doesn't. And so I think there is definitely a chance for someone to make that roster. And there's probably going to be a lot of the situations where, some, Power 4 football programs are going to get a heck of a positional player, and they're going to rev share it to death, and they're going to have one of these players that you asked to come for a few thousand, and they might just outshine the guy that is making the millions, right? So it's going to be a lot of craziness until it all settles. And so hold on for the next 5 years.
Well, and for the 5 years leading up to it, how much things have changed and what your recruiting pitch to players and their parents and different things. And that's
if it's any indication, I haven't had a question about academics in about 6 months.
Well,
6 months.
We like to think that's because this team is taking care of the things in the classroom as they always have under Coach Bluter for years and under you. But so what does that look like then in that recruiting process for you at Iowa? I know you've, again, being values driven, you're able to, this is who we are. If this is what you want to be a part of, come be a part of it. And I think that's really benefited you, even in the transfer portal, getting people like Lucy Olson who really fit with the culture of this program.
And I think that's the biggest challenge. I think if I have any concern, it's just, I told Beth Getz, who I think, and I've said this before, I mean, we can't have a better AD. There's no one better equipped to lead us into a new era than Beth is. Calm and steady and very forward thinking. I just told her, we talked a lot about this when I was interviewing for the job. And it's just going to be a whole different way of doing business. And we talked a lot about it. And I said, I can do the business. I said, I may not always like the business, but I can do it because you can't stay in college athletics if you want the old model. It's impossible. And so if you're not ready to get on board, then you got to get out. So I'm on board. But what my goal is to remain a college program. And, I just want to be one of the first that remains a college program in this crazy world. So, one of our major values is everyone matters. And so it's going to stretch it, right, and stress it because now it used to be everybody gets a scholarship. But now with the rev share, it's this new model has turned everybody into mini pros. And so none of us really wanted to work in the pros. That's why we chose to work in college. But now it's going to be a college or a pro model. So I'm still working on different philosophies and how to make that work. But I think we're on to something. And I think I'm just ready for the final ruling to happen in the spring, hopefully. So we all know exactly the rules of which we're going to be operating under. But if we're even remotely close to what we think is going to happen in the judicial system, I think we got a plan that's as good as it can be to remain true to a college program.
Certainly great leaders behind you and Beth Getz at the helm as well. So we'll be back right in a few minutes. With Oak Knoll's mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through Life Care, a not-for-profit life plan community serving the Iowa City community for 57 years. Oak Knoll is conveniently located near the University of Iowa Healthcare Campus, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, and downtown Iowa City. A proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Visit oakknoll.com to learn more. This is Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen from Learfield.
Hey, Hawkeyes, while you're hard at work in class or on the court, there's a team behind the scenes making sure that the power keeps going, the water keeps flowing, and the temps inside are just right. Introducing the University of Iowa Energy Collaborative. The collaborative is a public-private partnership between UI, NG, and Meridium. It delivers the funds UI needs to drive our academic and research excellence while optimizing campus utilities for a generation to come. Check it out at uiowaenergycollaborative.com.
Our mission at Oak Knoll is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through Life Care. I'm Steve Rowe, CEO. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served the Iowa City area for 58 years. Oak Knoll is located near the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, Hancher Auditorium, and downtown Iowa City. Visit our website at oakknoll.com to learn more. We are a proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Go Hawks!
Hawk fans, stop in and visit the newly renovated guest rooms at Hyatt Regency Coralville Hotel and Conference Center, located in the heart of Iowa River Landing. Stay within walking distance of Extreme Arena, home of the Hawkeye volleyball team, as well as great restaurants, shopping, and scenic walking trails along the Iowa River. Hyatt Regency Coralville is also the home of Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen and Fran McCaffrey. Come together at Hyatt Regency Coralville, where everything you need is right here.
The silly moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments. They're what make life remarkable. And they're why Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is here for every moment. Committed to making healthcare better, more affordable, with more choices for care. And service and coverage that give you peace of mind no matter what comes your way. So you can show up for every tender moment, every brave moment, and every wouldn't miss it for the world moment, knowing that Blue is here for you. Go to wellmark.com/every moment to find a plan right for you.
Quinn Schulte. I play safety here at the University of Iowa. On the field, I stop the run, I make the tackle, and I get interceptions.
Rosmer to throw, has time.
Yes,
Oh, it's deflected.
yes.
Intercepted again by Quinn Schulte. He's running the other way at the 40-yard line. Hawks have another turnover. We're going to slam the lid, hopefully, down. Here's an interception. That'll do it. And it's Quinn Schulte. And down there, the Hawkeyes will have first and goal.
Off the field, I help my body's defense by choosing vaccines that are right for me. Ask your doctor or healthcare provider which vaccines are right for you.
A message from Iowa HHS.
Not all internet is created equal. It's a lot like choosing a quarterback. Technically, you could sign up any new rookie provider on the block, but the success of every device in your home depends on it. Will they perform in the clutch, or will they buffer under pressure? Extreme provides the speed you need with a 100% gigabit technology network and amplified Wi-Fi. And unlike signing a quarterback, Extreme Internet requires no contracts. There's only one pick to lead your team. It's Extreme, powered by Mediacom.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen from the Hyatt Regency's Watermill Kitchen and Bar. Watermill Kitchen and Bar in the Iowa River Landing has a brand new menu. They have some exciting new locally inspired specialties like cornbread shortcake, harvest flatbread, and pork belly ragu. We are so excited to try these, and there are many other dishes throughout this season's show.
There's a special drink on there, too.
So, Jan, you know, the middle of the Big Ten really stacked up right now, and it has been really throughout the course of this season. There's kind of a top couple that are, you know, UCLA obviously dominant. USC has fumbled a couple times, namely against you, and we won't forget that one anytime soon. But is it too soon to start looking at conference tournament seeding with 5 regular season games remaining?
Yeah.
Or
Well, I mean, the thing is, this particular year is that middle is just such a log jam, and it often is. But with only one common opponent, it is just, wow, it is just a lot of pressure. So when you drop one or get one, and you only play them once, man, that can mean the difference from, 12th to 6th, right? It's just like there's no trying to get it back. And that's why I was glad that we were able to split with Nebraska. And it's, unless you're really UCLA or those top 3, it's, I guess the 4 or 5, they're secure now. But everything, the movement that happens, like you can just jump when we have a standings board in our locker room, where you win one, it's like, boom, you can jump 2 with a win because someone lost. And so it's, I think it's too early for any type of predictions. Now, I have looked ahead at different people, who the games, you kind of hope someone's going to play like UCLA 4 times, and they're not. Imagine that. They're playing kind of everybody's got a similar schedule. On paper, they got a couple away, they got 3 home, or they got 3 away, they got 2 home. They got a really hard one, they got a middle one. Hard meaning you're playing the top 2, USC or UCLA left. They got the middle, kind of hard, it's a toss-up. And then they might have one at the bottom left. But it's all equal. So you can't say like, oh, man, I'm so glad that Indiana's got 4 hard games left. They don't. They have a schedule just like us left, right? So I think it's just really too early, too early to really tell where you could be. So what I've just told our team and staff, I said, we just got today. We just take care of today, and we just keep taking care of today and trying to stack more wins than losses, and then we'll get in a position to hopefully be in a desirable seed.
When that tournament's back in Indianapolis this year after a couple of years with lots of Hawkeye success in Minneapolis, but a new structure as well. The bottom 2 teams in the conference not even making the conference tournament. Now there's an additional game on that first day. And like you say, thing goes your way, another thing doesn't. You're looking at I asked Coach Raina Harmon on the plane last night that exact question. I said, so what kind of seeding generally are we looking at? And she goes, anywhere from 5 to 13.
Right.
Which, when you have an 18-team conference, is just kind of the reality of it. So we'll go to another listener question here. And
absolutely.
To have you kind of expound on a comment you just made. Frank in Sioux City entered on Twitter and said, what a roller coaster over the past few weeks. As a coach, do you address that you were on a little bit of a losing streak and then you went on a 5-game winning streak, or do you just ignore the past and focus solely on the opponent in front of you? And Frank would like to wish you good luck from Sioux City.
All right. Thanks, Frank. I think it's I mean, everybody remembers, right? I think you know, all of us in the room, you remember a tough stretch at work. You remember a tough stretch in your relationship. You remember a tough stretch in your family, whatever it is. And you're not there anymore, so you don't dwell on where you were. I think the key is always looking forward, going forward. And so I don't think there's any, we have not had to have a lot of long discussions on where we've been. We were there. We're well aware, right? And it took a lot of work. I mean, that's where, regardless of what happens the rest of the season, really what this team did, I mean, I'm just so proud of them because it was really difficult because it was, there wasn't a whole lot of people that were as, believing in them like they were at the beginning of the year when they hit that stretch. And they had to kind of lock arms and they had to know and they had to believe that, it was just a possession here or there. And believe me, I've relived every possession of every game down the stretch. So I don't dwell on it. I really use it as a positive. And I really think growth really comes from adversity. As much as you want sunshine every day, everything looks pretty because of the rain. And as much as we do not maybe, we like rainy days every now and then, right? You curl up, watch a movie, all the things if you have a day off. But that's kind of how it is. And I didn't like it. It was, a hard time in my professional life and might have to go it again. But that's just part of doing things that are hard. And when you chase greatness, it doesn't come without challenge. So I don't dwell on it. I usually use it like, man, look what you guys have done. And just keep building and keep looking and keep going farther and farther onto that shore. We really used an analogy, if you followed us at all. We just talked about we're in the water and we were kind of not quite getting swimming to try to get to the shore. So I just keep using the analogy. Let's just keep going farther and farther. I want to get to that beachfront property on the penthouse suite and look back at the water. And that's what we're doing. So we're just taking it one day and one game at a time.
Yeah, well, thank you. And thanks again to Frank and Sioux City for the question. We've got to take one more break. This is Hawk Talk with Jensen from Learfield.
At MidAmerican Energy, our 1.6 million customers depend on our energy 24/7. That's why we work 24/7 to deliver the safe, reliable energy you need. To keep our 99.9% reliability record, we're enhancing our technology, improving resiliency, and investing in critical infrastructure. We're generating power from all available resources to cover any increases in demand. And we're innovating to ensure you always have the energy you need. MidAmerican Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
You might think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Corn can even fuel your drive to watch the Hawkeyes play when you choose Unleaded 88. It's a fuel that's cheaper, cleaner, and greener. Plus, it's homegrown, making Unleaded 88 the clear choice at the pump and totally worth the hype. So as you head to cheer on the Hawkeyes this season, don't just fuel up. Pump it up with Unleaded 88. Find Unleaded 88 at a station near you. Go to iowacorn.org/88.
Hear that? That's the Iowa Lottery powering up the new Pac-Man scratch ticket, where you could jump your way to $50K in instant cash prizes. Even if you don't score big in your first round, you still get an extra life. Because you can enter non-winning tickets in the VIP club for a chance to win a Pac-Man arcade package, plus your share of $325,000 in cash prizes. That's a lot of Waka Waka winning. Woo-hoo! Pac-Man is registered and copyrighted by Bandai Namco Entertainment Inc. Enter and see rules at iLottery.com/VIP.
Not all internet is created equal. It's a lot like choosing a quarterback. Technically, you could sign up any new rookie provider on the block, but the success of every device in your home depends on it. Will they perform in the clutch, or will they buffer under pressure? Extreme provides the speed you need with a 100% gigabit technology network and amplified Wi-Fi. And unlike signing a quarterback, Extreme Internet requires no contracts. There's only one pick to lead your team. It's Extreme, powered by Mediacom.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide, experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides the direct connection to free, confidential, and compassionate support. When you call, text, or chat 988, you'll be quickly connected to trained crisis counselors who will listen to your concerns, provide support, and connect you to additional resources if needed. There is hope. You are not alone. For 24/7 support, call or text 988 or chat 988lifeline.org. A message from Iowa HHS.
Our mission at Oak Knoll is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, CEO. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served the Iowa City area for 58 years. Oak Knoll is located near the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, Kinnick Stadium, Carver Hawkeye Arena, Hancher Auditorium, and downtown Iowa City. Visit our website at oakknoll.com to learn more. We are a proud sponsor of Hawkeye Athletics. Go Hawks!
Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen from the Hyatt Regency's Watermill Kitchen and Bar. And Coach, last night in the return to her home state, Taylor McCabe was 5 for 8 from three-point range. Actually didn't have a field goal other than those 5 threes. She did make 2 free throws, and I think she had about 50 people, friends, family in attendance at the game last night. She being an Omaha kid. And so I think this listener question from Levi is a good one based on that stat line. He says, I am not a coach, but I'm puzzled why Taylor doesn't shoot more from the outside. I know she's very accurate, so why not shoot more often?
Yep. Well, the fact that you know she's very accurate, Levi, so does the opponent. And sometimes it's just hard to get her freed up. We keep kind of changing sets. And sometimes I like to, a lot of times, score within the course of our offense. You know, just let the offense run. And so certain sets can get her freed up. But if you always call a play, it kind of thwarts the freedom of Lucy to kind of get open and try to, you know, really get a quick 1 to 2 to 5 look on a fast break. So you kind of have to hit that balance. So certain teams do a little, you know, better job of really, you know, face guarding her or not letting her get open. But the thing is, when our team, when Lucy's hitting, right, and Sid Allfalter was hitting last night, then it's a little harder to give just special attention because now you kind of have to help on Lucy because Lucy's going off. And now Sid, man, you can't really, you know, jab at her. If you need to go cover her because she's 1 for 1 and now she's 2 for 2. So it kind of helps when everybody kind of is doing their job. Then Taylor can free up. But I agree with you. I'd love to get her shooting like that every night, but certain teams just do to give her a little bit more attention.
Well, and that's something so different this year. It's like you knew how good Caitlin was, but what you didn't sometimes recognize was how much defensive attention that she took away from everyone else. So you're wide open in the corner. Of course you can knock down that shot, and different people having to learn how to play a little bit differently. I think of that a lot with Hannah Stolke and Sydney Affolter, namely, just because of how different that is.
Yeah, and I think they're all doing a great job of now trying to feed into each other's strengths. So may it continue. And how about Catherine Reynolds hosting this deal? Let's go.
Well, it's been a pleasure to sit alongside you, Jan. Any final words as you head into this Rutgers matchup here on Thursday evening, again, 6:30 p.m. tip in Carver Hawkeye?
I just say thanks to the fans. Keep supporting them. We appreciate you, and God bless, and go Hawks.
Yeah, words to live by there.
Live from the Watermill Kitchen and Bar inside the Hyatt Regency in Coralville, this has been Hawk Talk with Jan Jensen, presented by Oak Knoll Retirement Community. Also brought to you by 988. There is hope with a 988 lifeline. Call or text 988 for free, 24/7. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Honda. To see how Honda crushes the competition, see your Central Midwest Honda dealer. Honda gets the Midwest. Powered by the University of Iowa Energy Collaborative, empowering Hawkeyes to do energy right. Oak Knoll, an active life care community. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. U.S. Bank, proud to support Iowa basketball. U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. And by Wimmer's Meats, the official hot dog of the Hawkeyes. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.